Well, this is what breakfast looks like in a coffee estate in Banakal in the western Ghats of Karnataka. We have kessa, which is made with the wild colocasia leaves. We have some urlikattu, which is the horse gram. We have some tuppa chutney, which will be relished with the akki roti. And of course, a good breakfast is never complete without a serving of some fruits. What is the sound that I hear?
Those are crickets. They're also crying out for the rain. Thing is, in the old days, the rains came on schedule. Like when you wanted the rains, they came, but it's not happening anymore.
Well, what you see here is a coffee bud that is just on the verge of blossoming. So when you visit a coffee estate when it's in full bloom, all that you will see is a magnificent carpet of white, and it's the best time to actually visit a coffee estate. Beautiful. Well, we're back from devaramane Gudda and just in time here at Chittakki Homestay because the barbecue is ready. So I think it's time to take a look at what's going to be grilling. Good morning. Good morning, Sharath. Slept very well.
Okay.
Was awakened by the sound of the birds, and I think I could also hear some peacocks.
And maybe jungle fowl.
Jungle
you didn't
fowl.
notice the jungle fowl?
I saw some biggish birds.
On the undergrowth. Yeah, it must be the jungle fowl.
Jungle fowls. I think it's wonderful to be in a place like this. Just yesterday we were in Bengaluru in the morning fighting our way through traffic. But you come here, it's a different world altogether. So what's the plan this morning, Sharath?
Okay, so today we're going to, generally what I do is I tell my guests before they leave, they should know something about coffee. That's the idea. The planting and the growing of coffee aspects. Then as we go into the estate, they kind of know what's happening in the estate on that particular day.
Fantastic. So a morning here in Banakal.
Banakal, Chittakki.
Banakal, Chittakki Homestay, exploring life on a coffee estate.
No, the planter's life.
Planter's
Things
life.
from the planter's perspective.
Fantastic.
So what's happening is we've picked the coffee in December, January, coffee picking is done. Then we want the estate to be totally dry, no moisture in the soil. Then the plant starts shrinking and it throws out these buds. The reproductive buds, which are going to be the fruits. The buds have come up to a stage what we call the 7 millimeter stage, and they're crying for rain. And we rely heavily on the Revati rains. So Revati starts on 1st of April normally. It comes in two phases. Onne pada, erdne pada. So each pada is around 7 days. The first part Revati falls. It rains on April 1st, say, which was yesterday or day before yesterday. April 9th, the estate is going to be in blossom.
Full bloom.
Full bloom.
Oh, wow.
So all the buds will open out on the 9th day. But on the 9th day, if it rains, finished. There won't be time for pollination. There is no pollination, there is no fruit. See, coffee requires 2 rainfalls. One is for the flowers to open, which is called the blossom showers.
Okay.
And within the 23rd day, after the flowers open, we need a second shower called the backing shower. So once you get these 2 showers, your coffee is more or less assured. So we bank heavily on the Revati. So we give the blossom showers in such a way that after it blossoms, we wait for the Revati as the backing shower.
All right. So this is the signal if something is wrong. So I tap on the cabin. Well, this certainly is an experience that I haven't experienced before. Quite bumpy at the back, doing my best to hold on.
To my left is one kind of coffee.
Okay.
And there's one more to the right, which is another kind of coffee. The Arabicas and the Robustas, what we previously discussed.
Yes.
So from the plants, could you tell me which is which?
Yes, I can. You know, that plant has a trunk which is more like a tree, so that's Robusta.
Yeah. Another thing is this plant is around 14 years old and that plant is around 7 to 8 years old.
But it looks bigger.
It looks bigger. So it's like a small child who's, it's an overgrown child. So it's a robust child. So this is a very, very critical time. Like I told you, they're crying out for rain. So once it rains, estate is going to be in blossom. So unfortunately with the, the global warming and stuff like that, the rains have been very erratic. So like I told you before, we rely heavily on the Revati, which is from all predictions, it's going to fail us this year.
So although you can irrigate and all of that, but much of it depends on nature.
Nature, yeah. So we are always praying for rain.
So these are the buds
These are the buds. Generally they call it 7 millimeter stage.
Okay.
So when they come up to that stage, they are ripe for irrigation. Yeah. These trees, those are silver oaks. They are a very good standard for pepper to grow on.
So do you go around the estate every day?
Not really. We know how much work has to be done. So our job is to monitor that work is being done.
What is the sound that I hear?
Those are crickets. They are also crying out for the rain. Thing is, in the old days, the rains came on schedule. Like when you wanted the rains, they came, but it's not happening anymore.
And how long have you observed this phenomenon?
Maybe for the past 10 years, maybe it's accentuated a lot.
Yeah.
A lot of, ups and downs. A drought year followed by a year with heavy.
And this wasn't the case earlier?
This wasn't the case earlier.
Earlier you could predict?
Yeah, you could predict it as more even. Now it is very, fluctuates a lot. Extreme rains and no rains and rains in January. So the buds are ready to receive the rain and, become fruit.
Okay.
But if there is no rain and I am unable to irrigate this, say this patch of land, these buds are going to turn pink.
Okay.
It's called pinking.
Okay.
That's the stage when you know this plant is done. You're not going to get anything from it.
So it's not going to blossom?
It's not going to blossom.
You can feel the land, the lay of the land quite literally as you bounce around in this pickup, and my GoPro is having a tough time trying to remain steady just to capture some shots. Well, this is an interesting experience that the folks at Chittakki have devised for their guests to get a sense of what it's like in a coffee estate. I think when you're sitting in the cabin, when you're sitting in a car and driving through this, you don't get a sense of the vastness of this coffee estate, and also I don't think you feel like you're one with nature. But out here on the open, even though you're tumbling down this trail, holding on for dear life, it certainly immerses you into the environment, into the coffee estate out here. Well, what you see here is a coffee bud that is just on the verge of blossoming. So when you visit a coffee estate, when it's in full bloom, all that you will see is a magnificent carpet of white, and it's the best time to actually visit a coffee estate. Beautiful.
So all these are going to become the fruit. After it falls off naturally, you'll get a stage called the pinhead stage.
Okay.
So like small pinheads. And that is the time when you need to irrigate it the second time. So maybe in a month or two, you'll see the small berries develop. We are going to pick this in January, February.
January, February.
So coffee is an annual crop. So you pick one crop per year.
Okay.
So January, February, we'll be picking the Robustas.
So that's about 9 months.
9 months. God has been kind in the sense that all of them don't come together.
All right.
So the Arabicas come first, and once you pick the Arabicas, the Robustas are ready. And once you pick the Robustas, the pepper is ready.
So you basically have the opportunity to plan your estate operations accordingly.
Because of this staggered picking.
All right.
And these are laggards, which should have been picked, but they're left behind.
So this is basically what the coffee berries will look like.
If you break it, inside there's a slimy layer of mucilage.
Correct.
And then it splits into two, so coffee is a dicotyledon.
Correct. Wow, you can smell the blossoms, huh? The jasmine.
Yeah, that's what we live for.
Yeah, this is when you should be at a coffee estate. This part of the estate has blossomed. So all around me is basically a sea of white. You can also hear the bees at work as they flit around from bloom to bloom, pollinating the flowers. When you come into an environment like this, when you come into a place like this, it gives you a sense of how much dependent we are on nature. You know, when we live in cities and we go about our day-to-day work, we tend to forget this. So I think that's also another reason why you should make time to come to places like these, just to remind you of your connection to nature and how fragile it is. So what are they carrying?
The pollen, they're just transferring it. It's not a deliberate attempt by the bees to pollinate a flower.
So for them, they're going for the nectar.
They're going for the nectar, and they take the pollen with them into the next flower. So it's not just the bees who do this; all insects basically.
This is like a garland of blossoms on the plant. That's what it literally feels like. It feels like somebody is meticulously woven garlands of these white flowers and strung it on this robusta. That's the beautiful work of nature. It's just amazing. I think you spend a couple of days in an estate like this, walking up and down, you don't need any exercise. You don't need to go to the gym, you don't need a trainer.
So the whole estate is not in blossom. So there are certain patches where it is in blossom. That's why all the bees congregate.
Okay.
So the efficiency of pollination is more bees doing the work.
And they work for free. You give them nectar.
They give us honey also if you're...
They give you honey as well.
Yeah.
So I think nature...
It's always been generous.
Yeah, generous.
We are the ones though.
So most things in nature are selfless.
Yeah,
we humans
definitely.
are selfish.
Yeah.
Well, some coffee after that trek and holding on for dear life on the back of the truck. Thank you. So this is your coffee?
Yeah, this is estate coffee. So it's got a mix of Robusta and Arabica, predominantly Arabica, and 10% of chicory.
Chicory. That's the reason why, that caramel.
Yeah, because chicory is because people can't drink it without chicory. So we tried giving them pure coffee, but nobody liked it.
What I like is the length of the finish.
Maybe because of the Robusta and the chicory, they're more bitter.
So Robusta would be what percentage?
Robusta would be around 20%.
Okay, and 70% would be Arabica.
70% would be Arabica, right.
10% chicory. So Mr. Sharad was telling me about another interesting activity that happens here. So when you come here after the monsoons, when there is water in the streams but not so much that it's going to drown you, you can trek in the stream.
In the stream.
All the way from here back to the
homestay.
So that's what, about a kilometer?
Yeah, maybe a little bit more.
So it's nice how you've created these various activities, whether it's a drive in your
pickup truck.
Not a drive, a ride in your pickup truck or doing something like this. Well, Sharath has been kind enough to lend me the wheels to this Bolero pickup. I'm not one to turn down such an offer. Huh? Well, there was a bit of a slide back there. It's been a while since I've driven a manual. But the thing is that once you learn on these, you'll never forget. Right?
Yeah.
Prakashit, are you okay? Just checking out if our cinematographer perched on the bed of this pickup truck is doing fine. Is the driving okay?
Yeah.
Is this normal?
Yeah, you can go a bit faster if you want, but...
Oh, go a bit faster. So out here in the estates, driving is an important skill,
Yes.
and especially driving four-wheel drives.
In the monsoon.
In the monsoon.
In the monsoon. This is okay, now it's okay.
This is like a piece of cake.
This is a piece of cake.
Monsoon, what happens?
It's a different story altogether.
Yeah.
You can't stall.
Can we stall? You'll see.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you go at a steady pace. You shouldn't accelerate when you feel you're in trouble.
Because then the wheels will spin.
Wheels will spin.
I'm driving a manual after ages, so I'm glad that I can still do it. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Yeah.
Well, it was a busy morning, but a fun morning. The pickup ride was unlike anything that I'd expected to find, but it was fun nonetheless. I think that's what breaks like these are all about, right? You want to do something that you haven't done before. Introduce your body, your mind to things that you wouldn't normally do. Also nice to walk around the coffee estate, take a look at what's happening there. It's quite obvious that Mr. Sharath is a very passionate coffee grower, and that shows in the manner in which he speaks for coffee, what life is on a coffee estate, what it takes to produce coffee. When we come into spaces like these, we spend a couple of days, we all nurse dreams or ambitions of having a piece of land and spending time there, but it's very difficult. I think whether you're running a 120-acre coffee estate or let's say you only have a few acres, I think land is something that needs to be looked after. Also, that drive has helped work an appetite for breakfast. Well, we have a very interesting looking dish here. What is this?
It's called kesa.
Okay.
It's typically had with roti, akki roti.
Akki roti.
Yeah, you can have it even in your lunchtime, but it goes well with akki roti.
And this is what colocasia leaves?
Colocasia leaves.
So are these the cultivated ones or the wild ones?
These are the wild ones.
The wild ones.
It's cut into pieces, rolled and made into a knot. This is also a typical dish, hurli kattu we call it.
Horse gram.
With desiccated coconut.
So you basically cook the hurli kalu, you extract all the liquid from that, and then you cook that liquid over hours.
Over hours.
The akki roti. Thank you. I'm really looking forward to tasting this. The red chilli masale. I can also see plump slivers of the garlic. I can smell the vegetal notes, right, of the kesa, of the leaf. And this is the hurli kattu. Oh, I love the viscosity of this. This is almost like a thick syrup.
My mother-in-law made it.
Oh.
So the correct recipe, I don't know.
So your mother-in-law still is holding on to that recipe.
Holding on to the traditional.
Lovely. And some tuppa. So the tuppa goes with the...
You can put it over it.
Okay, over the kesa. You know, I'm never one to say no to tuppa. And some chutney, of course. So this is just a coconut chutney.
Coconut chutney.
With some of that akki roti. The akki roti is fluffy and spongy at the same time.
Yeah.
But this is the combination, right? Akki roti with the kesa. I want to make sure I get some of that tuppa, the garlic, and of course the colocasia leaves into the scoop of the roti. So it's sour, spicy, and then the pungent hit of the garlic. When you eat sour, immediately saliva begins to flow. Oh, we have some eggs as well, some omelette. So what's interesting in this dish is that this colocasia is the wild colocasia which is foraged from the estate. And colocasia has a certain property by which it itches the throat. So to balance that, they use what is the Garcinia, I think it's a kokum, and that basically helps alleviate some of that itch. And when you taste it, you also taste it with some of the tuppa. So I guess the fat also helps smoothen things down as that kesa goes down your throat. I love those plump kernels of garlic that I'm biting into. Very good. I also like the fact that the akki roti has strength. So it's able to carry the weight of that sour, spicy kesa. And now for some of that hurli kattu. I'm getting the smoky flavors of the horse gram. So the horse gram is cooked, it's liquid extracted, and then that is cooked slowly over a wood fire for hours to thicken it. I'm also tasting the flavor of the desiccated coconut, the toastiness of the desiccated coconut. There's also a bit of sourness in that, perhaps from some tamarind or some other souring agent. So good. I loved it. There's also a bit of the heat that I'm tasting now from the red chilies in that hurli kattu. So the combination again here is with akki roti.
Akki roti. You can have it for lunchtime. You can have it with rice, but basically you can.
These are like breakfast and lunch dishes, is it?
Yeah.
So out here when guests come, so vegetarians even have enough options.
Yeah.
If there's a vegetarian.
Usually we have, suppose 7 of them come, 3 are vegetarian, 4 are non-vegetarian. So you
balance it out.
Provide for,
So
dishes for all of them.
All right. So what is lunch like for a vegetarian?
Veg biryani with mutton biryani or chicken biryani.
All right.
So it's veg biryani. Need those say we make one tomato goju.
Tomato goju.
Yeah.
So it'll be sour, spicy.
Yeah, sour and spicy. It usually goes well with that. With those double beans, those double beans.
Double beans.
Yeah, with the neer dosai for the vegetarians.
And for breakfast, well, there is the akki roti with the kessa and the urli kattu. Excellent. Now some of that coconut chutney. The coconut chutney is quite papa, quite mellow, little green chili, not too much.
Yeah.
And some kothmiri, is it?
Kothmiri, 1 or 2 garlic.
I love that smokiness of that urli kattu, that sour, that heat. Thank you. Thank you very much. Nice puffy akki roti. Bisi ide. So when you come to a place like this, of course they will provide you breads and toast and all that you want. Try and taste these dishes because this is what you will not find in Bengaluru or Mumbai or wherever you may be visiting from. It's always nice to also taste the local culinary traditions of the land because food, after all, has the ability to connect you deeply to a place. So good. What I also love about the setup here is the space. You're sitting here at this dining table or wherever you may be in this living room. On one side, you have this large window with views of the estate and the mountains beyond. And on the opposite side, well, there's a glass wall which frames beautifully the vistas of the estate. So the moment you step into this room, you feel like you're in the lap of Mother Nature. Another steep climb, some rocks here, some stones here as well. I'm so happy we're doing this. I think this is also one of the highlights of my visit here to the plantation. I wanted a place where I could take the jimny, do a bit of off-roading.
Nati koli saru.
Oh, nati koli.
Yeah.
So this is country chicken.
Country chicken.
Fantastic. I love the color of the saru. What do you call this?
We call it eri.
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 So there we go. We have a loaded plate with the shavige, with the benne kadbu. I love the soft sheen of that benne kadbu.